I'm so tired of this dull routine. Up to town on the 8:15, back at 9, off to bed, and then get up and start it all over again. Let's take a boat to Bermuda. Let's take a plane to St. Paul. Let's take a kayak to Quincy or Nyack. Let's get away from it all. Let's take a trip in a trailer. No need to come back at all. Let's take a powder to Boston for chowder. Let's get away from it all. We'll travel round from town to town, visit every state, and I'll repeat, I love you, sweet, in all the 48. Oh, let's go again to Niagara. This time we'll visit the falls. Let's leave our hut, dear, get out of our rut, dear. Let's get away from it all. We'll travel round from town to town, visit every state, and I'll repeat, I love you, sweet, in all the 48. Yes, let's go again to Niagara, and this time we'll take in the falls. Let's leave our hut, dear, get out of our rut, dear. Let's get away from it all. Oh yeah, let's get away from it all. Well, there's a nice old tune that Frank Sinatra sang back when he was with the Tommy Dorsey Band. Kind of a light-hearted one, but one that says, let's get away from it all. Let's have a change of pace. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to have a little change of pace. And we're going to make a nice, tasty supper dish that's really easy to make. So I'm going to move the camera over so you can see things up close and personal, and we'll get right to it. Now, just so you know ahead of time, you'll need a 2-quart casserole dish that has a lid or that you can cover with aluminum foil. And you want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, let's put our dish together. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our chicken. I'm just going to drain this juice off. Be right back. Now, you can do 2, 3, 4 chicken breasts, or you could do drumsticks or whatever kind of chicken you want to use, but you want skinless and preferably boneless. So I guess if you're using drumsticks, that might be a bit of a challenge, huh? So what we're going to do to prepare this is we're going to sprinkle both of them with a little bit of paprika. And a little bit of garlic powder. Now we're going to turn those over. And we'll do the same thing to the other side. Doesn't really matter which order you do it in, whether you put the garlic powder on first or the paprika. Alright, now we've done that, we'll set those aside and just sort of let them marinate in their own juices. Then you're going to take your 2-quart casserole, and into that you're going to put 1 can of cream of chicken soup. I'm using Campbell's, but you use whatever your favorite brand is. Trying to think that ad they used to have for Campbell's soup where it was so chunky you can eat it with a fork, but use a spoon because you'll want to get every drop. Well, that's kind of, I'm not using a spoon, but I do want to get every drop if I can. Now we're also going to add to this, oh, there's still a big glob in there. We're going to add to the recipe a 1/2 cup of water. So what I'm going to do is put that 1/2 cup of water in the can here and kind of stir it around just to try and get that extra little bit of soup out of the can. There we go. So that's half a cup of water, 1 can of Campbell's soup. This is a 284 ml can. I'm not sure what that is in the States, 10 ounce, something like that, I don't know. You want 1 cup of salsa. Now, it's up to you whether you want to use mild, medium, or hot, or extra hot salsa, and the brand is up to you as well. You could even use your own if you make your own salsa. But you want 1 cup of salsa. There we go. We're going to give that a good mix around there. Just kind of try and get it to blend. Now, one thing I could have done that might have made this blending just a little bit easier is I could have used hot water instead of cold. I used cold water, but it doesn't really matter. Just want to kind of get that stirred together there as best you can. If you use extra hot salsa, you don't need hot water, right? It's already hot. Alrighty. Now, to that, we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of instant rice or minute rice. And we'll mix that in really well. Try and keep it down off the sides, because if it's up on the sides, it's not going to cook like it should. And I'm adding 3/4 of a cup of mixed vegetables. Now you could just use straight corn or just peas or whatever, but you want 3/4 of a cup of veggies. You want to stir them in. And there we go, that's your preparation part done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2 chicken breasts in this case, and we're going to lay them on top. Try and move that over there. Just like that. Now you're ready to go. Now you're probably noticed I have about a half a cup or 3/4 of a cup of grated cheddar cheese here, and that's for later, so we'll just keep that set aside. We're going to put the lid on this, and we're going to pop it in the oven. Preheated our oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to cook this for 45 minutes. So let's get it in the oven and get it cooking. There we go. We'll set our timer for 45 minutes. And it's off and cooking. So we'll be back in 45 minutes. And at that time, that's when we'll top it with our grated cheese. I'll see you then. Well, we're down to 24 seconds left on the clock, and we're going to do something energy saving. We're going to turn the oven off. You can do that just to save energy. A few tips to save energy when you get down. If you're cooking something that you know will be done at the set time, so sometimes that excludes baking where you have to test to make sure that it's done before you do that. But if you know, usually about the last 5 minutes, you can turn the oven off and let it coast. Save yourself a little energy. Something else you can do if you're going to make a cup of tea, don't fill the whole kettle. Put a cup of the amount of water you need and a little bit more in there. It'll come to a boil faster, and you won't use anywhere as much energy as bringing the entire kettle to a boil. That works whether you're using a countertop electric kettle or a stovetop kettle, gas or electric. All right, we've got it out of the oven. I'll bring you over for a closer look. All right, as you can see, it's still bubbling a little bit, nice and hot. So now, here's where you can make a choice. You can either garnish it now, or you can serve it and garnish it on the plates. I'm going to garnish it now, so that's what the cheddar cheese is for. We're just going to sprinkle that over the top. And being that our dish is hot, guess what's going to happen to the cheese? It's going to melt. Now the other option you can do is, when you've got about 15 minutes left on the timer, you can pull your casserole out, put your cheese on at that point, and let it kind of bubble over the top. Now my grated cheese is kind of sticking together here, but The other option you have again is you can freshly grate it right over the casserole if you want, but that's totally up to you. Either way, you just want to put some nice cheddar cheese on the top there. Or if you don't like cheddar, then you could use, Monterey Jack or mozzarella or whatever you want. And now just to add a little more garnish, I'm going to sprinkle some parsley flakes on. This is parsley that I dried myself last year, so this gives it a little more color. And there we go. A nice dish ready to serve. And I'll take a picture of it after I plate it up. I hope you've enjoyed today's recipe and we'll give it a try. It's a nice little change, so if you need to get away from it all, let's leave our hut, dear, get out of our rut, dear, let's get away from it all. So here's a nice way to get away from the norm and try something new. Well, that's it from the Ian Wygath kitchen today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Give it a try, and you won't regret it. Here's another tip for you. For those of you who say you can't cook, chances are it's not a case of not being able to cook. It's a case of being easily distracted. Get everything together, put it in the oven, you set the timer. I got 45 minutes, I'll go do something else. And so off you go and you get involved in that, forget the time, and guess what? Well, here's a tip for you. Most of us have smartphones these days, and there is an app you can get for your smartphone that's a timer. So put that app on your smartphone. When you put your casserole in the oven, set it for 45 minutes, and then no matter where you are, or maybe if you're going to be in another part of the house, set it for 43 minutes or 42 minutes. Then no matter where you are, you can't say, well, I didn't hear the timer. When your phone rings or the alarm goes off, head back to the kitchen and get that casserole out. So no more excuses you can't cook. You can, you just need to focus more on what you're doing and not be so easily distracted. Well, until Tuesdays with the Pilgrim, and perhaps between now and then another fun fact, take care, stay safe, and God bless.